Hello and welcome to my ever messy art desk. This is Keeks and today we are gonna do a journal tour. So I actually finally finished my journal that I bought from Amy, Little Amy Arts, and I absolutely love this journal. It's full of both hot and cold press Arches paper and I have severely enjoyed this one. I'm actually really sad that it's over. However, I have decided that I am going to use the other one that I bought from her, which is a smaller one, as my next journal, and I can show you what that looks like. It is right here. So it is a bit smaller, but it has a lot of pages in it too, and I absolutely love her journals, so I couldn't stay away from it, basically. I was originally going to use that other journal as just a travel journal, but I haven't really felt inspired by other countries lately, especially with so much war and stuff going on. It seems like anytime I look up something, it has to do with war. So I decided that I'm just going to use it as my regular journal, and I'm going to enjoy it. But anyway, let's get started. So I'm very excited about this, and let's take a look here. And let me make sure, I think we're pretty well in there, but I'm gonna zoom out just a wee bit. Yeah, I think that'll do. So for the first bits in here, these actually were from Little Amy Arts Palette Challenge cards. So this was card 1, and it had these colors on it, and I was just really enjoying art that had swatches. I also used the Modern Watercolor Workshop, and that's by Pooja Kinjali Umrani. So that's how I kind of came up with this idea. So what she did is she had like this one page where it was just full of these beautiful, I'm gonna call them like party flags is what they kind of look like, but I really enjoyed them. And then on this side, I've got little watermelons and flowers, and this is my art card 2. Now this one I was actually inspired by Little Amy herself, which her name's actually Amber, but she did these beautiful flowers, and they were just flowers that she just randomly put on there and then put little watermelons. So I was like, well, I want to do that. That sounds adorable. So I did. Oh, and this journal was started on 6/15 of 25, and I actually completed this journal today. So today is 7/28 of 25, so just a little over a month. Let's see here. The paints that I used, I believe this one was my regular Teo Tree paints, and I think this feels a little bit of a heavier paint, so I'm thinking that this is Kuretake in the Art Nuevo set. This one I actually did in a video, so this one was my first attempt at doing a spin and scribble, and this one was on 6/24 of 25. So as you can see, I did spin number 1 here was a typewriter, spin number 2 was the Arches National Park in Utah, and I still love how this turned out. It's absolutely gorgeous. Spin number 3 was an ostrich. Spin number 4 was this cool key here, which the key I wish I would have just left as like a crown because I liked how it looked a little bit better, but I like how I turned it into a ghost key. And then spin number 5 was actually a moth, and this moth inspired me to do a much bigger moth that was a lot more detailed, and I ended up giving that as a gift to Art Junkie Shannon, which was really cool, and I did that one in a video too. And that was on 6/24, 6/25. This next one is part of my Little Amy Arts Pocket Palettes, and this is number 3 that I did. I don't have a date on here, but these are the colors I used, and I believe I used, what did I use on this one? I think this one was kind of a mixture probably, because it looks like this has several different tones in it, but I recognize this as being Gansai Tambi, but I'm not sure about the other ones. Sometimes I wrote it down and sometimes I didn't, but I love how this one turned out, and I think my favorite part about it is how the colors saturated in here. Like I feel like the limes really look like limes. The orange is a little hit and miss, but I love how the limes turned out. And I was also starting to watch more Katie Moody around this time, so I started doing the line around my art, which I ended up really enjoying and did that quite a few times. So this one was actually a Patreon tutorial that I did. That was one of Katie Moody's Patreon tutorials. And this one I did on 7/1 of 25, so just at the beginning of the month. And this was my landscape practice painting, so you can actually see there's like little mountains in the background. It has not only watercolors used on here, but I also used my Art Nuevo set. Wow, goodness, I am mixing things up. My Neocolor set. So my Neo Color 2s, you can actually see where I did like little rough lines in there. But yeah, so it was just a mixture of watercolor, and I guess it is my Art Nuevo set, which is why I was looking over here. I absolutely love my Kuretake paints, what can I say? So I use them like almost all the time. And then my Neo colors in here, and she added a house in hers, so I did that too, and I tried her way of doing windows, which was really fun because usually I get a little bit over detailed on windows. I think I'm most proud of the rocks here, but I also really love how everything layered here, which was really cool. This was more practice, so Patreon for June for her was looking at street views, so I did a couple of them with her and then a couple of them not. So these two here were actually my own street views that I found myself, and then these two over here were ones that she had done in her video, so that was kind of fun. And then all these stickers are actually Katie Moody stickers that she had sent me whenever I had ordered a what did I order from her? Oh, I ordered a zine from her, and it came with those cool stickers, so it was really neat. And I really enjoyed these. With these, I got really detailed with them, and I'm really proud of how they turned out. These, I tried to use minimal things, so I used a lot of markers in these. I think I used like the Crayola Super Tips is what I was using with that. And then I also used a little bit of Neo color, but I didn't mix it with the water. I just kind of left it rough, which was really fun. That's something that I've been really enjoying, is leaving some of it rough. Let's see here. Oh, and that was on 7/4/25. Is there a page in between there? No. So this one I never actually posted on anything. So this is Little Amy's Pocket Palette number 4, and I used the Pooja Kinjoli Modern Watercolor book again, and this is her Fields from Above. So basically you just do stripes of the color, and it's supposed to kind of look like fields, like if you're looking at an aerial view. I loved it, but I thought it was a little too simple to post, so I didn't. I just kind of enjoyed it myself, and I really love how straight the lines were. This is where I was starting to experiment with using washi tape instead of using masking tape to separate things, which is cool. And then over here, this is based off of a bouquet I got at the farmer's market. So they were selling these little soda cans full of flowers, and I absolutely loved how the vines of the flowers were. And I used a bunch of Neo Color 2s to do this. So you can see like I wetted it a bit, and these are all the different colors I used. And it says, we went to the Lake St. Louis Farmers Market for the first time on 7/6/25. And I actually did this the next day, it looks like. But I wanted to get all these little tiny flowers in there because there was a little baby's breath, there was some sunflowers, there was a pretty carnation. And the vines are actually coming off of the sunflower, which is cool. And those vines were like just wild and pretty, and I just wanted to capture them. And it says, I love you, because we went with our family and I love them. So this one I'm like proud of. I don't think it quite looks the way I had planned, but that's okay. My husband said he immediately recognized what it was supposed to be. So I used my Paul Rubens oil pastels, the Haya ones, and it was the 70 piece. So this is my Vincent van Gogh master study of Starry Night, and I think it was really hard, but I really enjoyed it. I did this on 7/8/25, and I would say I learned that there's a lot of color packing. And he used, he didn't use pastels. I think he used oil paint. But man, he put so many different colors, because you could see so many different colors packed on top of each other. And I found that really hard to do, but this was a lot of fun. And mine's a very simplistic version and kind of moodier than his, but I kind of like it. I like how moody it is. I'm glad I at least tried. Oops, I thought I got all these, but I guess I didn't. So these were actually from another Patreon session with Katie Moody, and what they are is she had some how to draw stones and rocks, and I completely flubbed this one. Like, I've got some rocks up here, but they don't look very good. I am kind of proud of how this like wall looks though, but these were supposed to be rocks and they weren't looking like rocks, so I made them grass patches and water instead. So I would like to go back and probably re-watch that video and try again. And then I included some more of her stickers because I really like her stickers. This is when I was playing with gouache. Funny thing about this page is I was supposed to draw some stinkfish because my son and my husband always joke that they're stinkfishes to make each other mad. mad. They're just teasing each other. But whenever I filmed these, I was completely zoomed in on just this one fish. So there's like a half an hour of just staring at this fish while I'm painting all this other crap. It didn't work out the way that I planned. So then on the next page, I did some more gouache painting and just kind of played with it a little bit more. And this page is not as fun and colorful as this page, but by then I was just like super bummed out that I had done that, because it's not the first time that I've done it. That I just kind of like hurry up and get this over with, hurrah. And I'm actually really proud of how this crystal turned out. Like, I don't know much about gouache, but I think that crystal turned out good. And speaking of the gouache, now that I think of it, I do want to check and see. This is my little gouache thing. I wonder if they dried out or not, or if this is airtight. Ooh, they're still wet. Yolande, they're not totally dried out. There's still a little bit of gouache in there that I can see. Now, some of them are, like I can tell these two are a little dried out, but there is definitely still some wet gouache in there. So these did work a little bit, but you were right. I should have used them immediately. But hey, I still have some more and I know how I mixed those now, so it'll be okay. But yeah. And then this one, I was really proud of this page, so I kept seeing birds everywhere. Oh no, this keeps happening, and I'm sure it'll keep happening more. But my little pieces keep falling off. So basically this is a collage of different things that I just kind of had around the house. Like I put some of these little guys on here. This is actually from Dee Dee Willingham. This is a bird that's outside. It's a barn swallow. We have barn swallows that fly around our courtyard all the time. So I wanted to do something because they're just so beautiful and I really love looking at them. So I made like a spread, and we have these like lights that are stringed up in our courtyard, and I absolutely love how they look when they sit on them every morning. And then in our courtyard, we also have these trees that there was a male and a female finch sitting on, and the trees are kind of dead at the top. So I'm kind of proud of how that turned out. This was completely with just Crayola. And then this is like a mixture of the Crayola Super Tips. We've got regular marker, and then collage in there. So very fun spread, and I'll fix that later. I'm not really worried about it. So this one is upside down, and I'll turn it right side up. So what this was is I was watching a lot of art by Heather, and in the art by Heather, what she was doing was filling a page full of color and then blacking it out. And in it, I saw this, like what I perceived as a flower and some mushrooms, and I drew a fairy in it. My husband, however, told me that he sees something completely different. I'll leave that to the imagination right here. And then I was like, I'm never showing anybody this ever again. So, PC people, I'm not going to tell you what he saw, but give a wild guess what the man saw. And then whenever that happened, I ended up making this beautiful spread here about being a survivor. Because I actually didn't realize it, but I was actually starting to have some PTSD symptoms, and I kind of poured my heart out on these 2 pages about being a survivor from PTSD. And then a couple days later, I actually ended up in the hospital from it. So, you know, sometimes your PTSD and your mental health will sneak up on you. So just make sure, those of you out there that are survivors, that you're taking care of yourself, and that you know, hopefully have a good support system like I do, so that they could recognize something was wrong and that I needed help. But that was on 7/14/25, and I'm pretty sure a few days later I was actually in the hospital. Actually, I think I did this one, and then the next day I was in the hospital. So this is 7/19/25. That sounds better. I think the next day is when I went in the hospital. But this one I did another Art by Heather technique, and then where you black out the page. And I loved this family. This family looks nothing like my family, as my son told me, but I just really loved how this turned out. And then I just wrote like a love letter to my family. This was by the time I was out of the hospital. So I only stayed in the hospital for about 2 or 3 days. I think it was 3 days. And then here is something, let's see, are we zoomed out all the way? Yeah, we got this. So this is a Little Amy Arts palette number 5, I want to say. And I used my Kuretake, yeah, card number 5, and I used my Kuritakes. And I've got like my waffle cone in there, and I've got, I'm gonna say that this reminds me of, it's green, what is it called? Green in Japanese, matcha. Yeah, I'm gonna say this is matcha and this is strawberry because it sounds delicious. And I was really inspired by the actual card itself because it had ice cream on it. It didn't have a person holding it, but I went on Unsplash and found a picture of somebody holding a waffle cone, and then just did it with the nice colors and added my own added my own flowers to it. So I really enjoyed that one. That was on 7/21 of 25. This is another Scroll and Scribble. This one I did record. So I've got my chicken, who I love, a gas pump, this car, which I think is the best car I've ever drawn in my life. Like, even my husband was impressed. He's like, I can tell that that's a Volkswagen. I was like, thank you. These boots, which I'm very less impressed with. And I think I did pretty good on this lizard. Didn't know how I was gonna take that, but I think it looks like a lizard, so I'm pleased with it. And that was on 7/21 of 25 also. This one I did on camera, so this one is a bunch of bagworms that have taken over the trees that are in our courtyard, because we've got a lot of evergreen landscaping. So I did the life cycle of a bagworm, and then I also stole some branches from it and glued them in here, and they're starting to turn brown and dying, which I think is kind of perfect because that's what I want it to do, to symbolize what these bugs are doing to them. As you can see, there's a little bit of bleed through in here. I used alcohol markers on the next page. I'm not mad about it. It happens. But yeah. So this page means a lot to me. This one, you know, I've been really struggling these past couple of weeks with PTSD, and one of my homeworks from my intensive outpatient therapy is to write a journal page to myself to forgive myself. So it was kind of crazy. I did love yourself and forgive yourself, and then I put the definitions of both so that when I need to see it, I can see it and really, you know, remind myself. And then I put, you deserve to be loved and to feel loved. PTSD will not win. And remember, you are not the adult in the situation. And I remember I was so pissed off after I made it because I was so proud that I did this, and I was so angry because I was like, I feel like I have to hide this part of myself from people, and I shouldn't have to do that. What if somebody else is suffering? What can I do for them? And so I ended up posting it on Instagram and Facebook, but made a very angry message that I like cry wrote to my abuser on it, you know, basically saying, you know, you did this to me and I hope you suffer for it. But it ended up being an emotional outlet because I usually don't let myself feel anger, and I was, you know, everybody's been really proud of me for being angry, I guess. But I felt like these 2 pages were very healing, and I now completely understand why that was given to me as an assignment, so that totally makes sense. But these are 2 self-portraits. I'm not that skinny. I wish I was that skinny. But I thought it was pretty cool because I added my actual tattoos to this lady. And yeah, I tried my hardest to do pictures of myself, which I thought was really cool, and mix them with flowers because I love flowers. Then after that, I went ahead and, was this on the same day or the day after? This was on the same day, so I was finally cooled off. I wasn't so angry anymore. And I began to draw pictures of my dog, Rowena Ray Ravenclaw, or sometimes we call her Ro. So I just took some picture references of my favorite pictures of her and drew them and put that she's a good girl and stuff. She is 11 now, so she's getting up there in years, so I wanted to try and use her as a practice subject so I could have lots of different memories with her, because her health has been kind of worrying me lately. She's been having some hard times climbing up and down the stairs, and I just love her so much, and she makes me happy, so she really helped me relax that day. And I also learned with this one, I feel like, a lot, because I was using my Tombows and realized that whenever I wet the Neo colors on this, that Tombows do not like water. They do not. So next time I'll have to wet first, then Tombow after. But the colors on here, all of the colors except for what I did with the Neo colors as the borders of everything, were pan pastels. So that was pretty cool to be able to use my pan pastels on there. This is of my grandpa. I kind of wish I hadn't have colored this side, which is why I did not color this side. because I realized that I was coloring on hot press paper, and for some reason I didn't use my Neocolor tools like I should have, and instead I used my other Caran d'Ache like luminescence color pencils, and it was very hard terrain to color on, and now there's no way that I can blend this out. So I should have used either Neocolors or watercolor on it. So I ended up leaving this side not colored in. But this is of my grandpa. He passed away in, gosh, I think it was like April of 2021. So he had passed away, and you know, I absolutely loved my grandfather, as one does. And so I just did a page of all of his favorite things. Like, he used to do golf cart rides, family was everything to him, big Trekkie, loved cowboy hats. He also had a pencil mustache, which was really impressive, by the way. He always wore cowboy boots, loved all tools known to man. He was actually an auctioneer. And part of their auctioneering policy was honesty and integrity. He was a huge wrestling fan. He fist bumped Ronan whenever they were like, Ronan used to go like this, and then Grandpa would fist bump him. Very cute. His mom used to call him Donald Duck because of how he would wear his hair whenever he was younger. One of his favorite jokes to tell was the "got any grapes" duck thing, so I wrote that up here by Donald. He absolutely loved Kirby's Adventures from regular Nintendo. His name was Donald Edward Mansell. When I was a kid, he was the chief of police, and it was actually kind of cool. He actually ended up not doing it a second term because he did not like the political corruption and decided that in protest he would not be the chief anymore, which I always respected him for that. He also loved Royal Rummy. And then the last thing I drew were these like weird little eggs. So he had glass eggs, and he had a lot of them. I have no idea what they were, so I put, "I wish I knew why you liked these glass eggs so much," because they were definitely a weird thing. But he also liked sci-fi movies, so I have him with a remote here, and then I have him with the Captain Trekkie button. So yeah, I think that he would have loved this layout, and I feel like it had a lot of things that he loved. Over here we've got a picture of my son. So my son minus his glasses, because I wasn't sure that I could add the glasses and make it look right. But he was just sitting there playing on his tablet one day. I was like, "God, your legs are so long. Why are you so old now?" So I ended up drawing that for him, and I did this on 7/26/25, so just a couple days ago. Yesterday I did this one where I was actually drawing a picture of my husband, but I couldn't get him to look right. So instead of throwing the page out, I ended up doing flowers over top of them. And these are actually the same flowers that Little Amy Arts Amber did in her latest video. So go watch that because it's really good. But she did these really beautiful Neocolor 2 flowers and was showing her technique for it. So I ended up doing my own version of that technique, but in the same colors that she used, because I really liked how hers turned out. This one I actually did on the 26th, so I had skipped a page because I wanted to do my husband over here. But I ended up actually writing a love letter to my husband in the form of mice and flowers. So I put, "I love to visit the garden with my family. The blooming of the flowers mirror the lovely family as it grows. Each of them are bright, beautiful, and colorful, and each of them have their own unique personality. I will always share a flower with you. My love for my spouse blooms a vibrant red as my heart swells in his presence. You make me feel loved. Our friendship is a vibrant yellow, full of warmth and love that I cherish forever. It's like the sun kissing my face. Our family makes me feel royal and lucky. I want to share the beauty of life with you forever. You are my best friend, my true love, and my prince and my king, and I love being your queen. Even the weeds in the garden bring a smile to my face because life isn't perfect, but with hard work we can cultivate our own wildflowers and watch them flourish. Our sun is my favorite flower, constantly learning and growing tall. The sun shines on our good fortune and nourishes our wild stalks. Sometimes we send each other hand-picked flowers to cherish and show that our love is still strong. Together we tend..." Oops, sorry about that, an alarm went off. But to finish up, it says, "Together we tend our garden of love and dreams. Even the mushrooms that grow even mushrooms are beautiful and show our soil is healthy. I want to grow old with you. You love my weird." You're the one flower I will ever need, and I love my family. They are our true garden to grow. So yeah. So just like, I feel like this had so much energy in it to my husband that by the time I went over here to try to draw my husband, which you can see his mustache here, which is really funny. I see his whole face here. I just feel like I had already used up all my energy and love and poured it into this one, so this one didn't turn out, and that's why I went ahead and just went over it, but you can still see him back there, so I feel like it's still his. And then this is the last page. I did this one in my outpatient therapy today, so sometimes we all bring in like crafts and do art stuff before therapy starts. So I did these kind of pretty wildflowers and just kind of did random flowers. And then this one, my tire popped today. Fun. So I had to go sit at Discount Tires, and while I was there I decided to do some scroll and scribbles. So honestly, this last page was actually my goal. I met my goal because I said that I wanted to do plein air, and even though it's not plein air out in nature, I'm gonna count it because I was in front of a bunch of people doing artwork. So especially at Discount Tires, you have no idea how weird it is doing art in front of the big tire guys or whatever you want to call them. But yeah, so I feel like I met my goals with this journal, and I'm really excited to see what my next journal ends up being, and I'm just really happy with how it turned out. So thank you for joining me on this journey, and thank you for encouraging me, and I hope to spit out some cool pieces of art with you and learn and grow together. Thanks. Oh, and if you're new here, thanks for joining. If you're a subscriber, thanks for returning, and I'll see you next time. Bye!